Good evening. Another food scare has hit Taiwan, this time over fears that tainted blood was used in a local delicacy. Authorities on the island ordered shops and restaurants to withdraw up to 20,000 kilos of the item, which is made from duck and pig blood. ATV's Emily Siu reports.
Taiwan's food sector has been hit by yet another scandal, this time involving a popular local delicacy known as duck and pig blood cakes. After raiding the Taichung factory of Shumpeng Foods yesterday, authorities found that chicken blood unfit for human consumption was used to make the delicacy. During the raid, some workers were caught trying to destroy evidence. Based on a preliminary investigation, the company wanted to lower production costs and since late November began buying chicken blood every month from a slaughterhouse. The blood, contaminated with feathers and feces, is meant to be used as animal feed. Officers have detained the company's manager. Authorities also ordered the company's factories across the island to halt all production. Up to 20,000 kilos of the product were being removed from shelves. Shumpeng Foods is considered to be one of Taiwan's biggest blood cake providers and supplies up to 70% of the products sold in markets, shops, and hot pot restaurants.
J.C. Chan, son of Kung Fu star Jackie Chan, has been released from a Beijing jail after serving time for a drug offense. ATV's Alison Chan reports.
Action star Jackie Chan and his son Jay-Z are likely to be reunited in time for the Lunar New Year. The younger Chan was released from the Dongquan District Detention Center in Beijing just after midnight last night. A court in the capital jailed the 32-year-old in January for 6 months after he was convicted of using his home as a venue for drug users. He was also fined 2,000 yuan. J.C. Chan was detained in Beijing in August along with Taiwanese actor Ko Chan-tong. Both admitted using marijuana. Police found 117 grams of the drug in Chan's home. He was released today because he was in detention since his arrest. Ko was freed after 2 weeks. J.C. Chan's agency said he'll hold a press conference tomorrow to offer a formal apology for his behavior. It's not known when he'll return to Hong Kong. The scandal has been embarrassing for his father Jackie, who was China's anti-drug ambassador in 2009. The veteran actor apologized earlier and said he was ashamed of his son's action. Alison Chan, ATV News.
There was a security scare in Shanghai last night when a man rammed his car into the gates of the U.S. consulate. A security guard and the driver himself were injured, but police said the incident had nothing to do with terrorism. ATV's Joyce Wu reports.
This closed-circuit TV footage shows the moment a man rammed his car into the U.S. Consulate General in Shanghai last night. A Chinese police guard was injured when the car hit the consulate's gate in Shuhoi district. The driver from Fujian province was also hurt and was arrested. He was taken to hospital with injuries to his mouth, face and chest. Police issued a statement saying the man was mentally confused and that he was not driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. According to media reports, the driver, who claimed he has a big company, said he wanted to get attention because someone was trying to kill him. Joyce Wu, ATV News.
Jurors in the manslaughter trial of the 2 captains at the center of the Lamma Island ferry disaster have again failed to reach a verdict and will continue their deliberations tomorrow. When they retired tonight, the 9 jurors had already spent 29 hours discussing the case. The 2 skippers, Chao Chi-wai of the Lamma 4 and Lai Sai-ming of the Sea Smooth, have denied the charges. Both faced 39 counts of manslaughter and 2 charges related to marine safety after the crash on National Day in 2012. Here in Hong Kong, 3 beauty parlor workers accused of forcing a woman to part with $100,000 for treatment have been arrested. The victim was allegedly misled into believing that scars on her face and neck would mutate to cancer if she did not take action. Customs officers arrested 3 people aged between 29 and 49 for allegedly breaching the Trade Descriptions Ordinance. The trio, a director, a manager and a therapist, work for a beauty parlor which has been accused of luring customers with cheap service packages. The 3 were arrested on Wednesday in connection with a case in which a client wishing to spend $1,000 ended up paying more than $10,000 for a treatment plan back in September. During her 4th visit in November, the suspects allegedly launched a sales pitch for a more expensive service package.
The complainant stands firm to be false. However, the staff persuade her to procure more treatments by different reasons, but the complainant still stay firm to be false. And then the staff say that the complainant had infectious disease on her neck and face, and this disease would likely to mutate to cancer.
In the end, the victim forked out $90,000 because of fears over her health. The woman alerted police after a doctor told her later that she had no such health problems. Customs officers said the three suspects, who are now on bail pending an investigation, allegedly resorted to aggressive sales tactics, a criminal offense which hinders the consumer's freedom of choice.
We believe the enforcement does not only protect the consumer's right, it also helps to fortify integrity among the industry, and hence the consumer's confidence. And it's beneficial to both parties, I mean the consumer and the industry. Yeah.
He urged consumers to seek advice from others first before making doubtful purchases. 7 more people have died from severe flu, taking this year's death toll to 181. Health officials are warning that the period of heavy flu activity is expected to continue for a while. ATV's Arthur Urkula reports.
The Center for Health Protection announced that in the 24 hours ending at noon, there had been 10 new cases of adults falling ill with severe influenza and 7 deaths.
There's 1 newly reported death among the previously reported cases. The cumulative number of severe cases is 266, including 181 deaths. The severe cases, including those who require admission to the intensive care unit in public or private hospitals, or deaths.
There were no new infections for those under the age of 18, with the number infected staying at 14. But health officials say people should not be complacent.
There's still some fluctuation in the surveillance indicators. We expect this high activity level will remain for some time, and I would like to appeal to the people of Hong Kong to remain vigilant and pay attention to hygienic measures.
With the Lunar New Year break just around the corner, Leung urged the public to take precautions to prevent other infectious diseases like avian flu and dengue fever, whether they're leaving the city or staying here. Arthur Urkula, ATV News.
Lawmakers have rejected a motion to thank Chief Executive Raymond Yeung for his policy address. The chamber was split, while functional constituencies voted in favor. The opposition-dominated geographical constituencies dismissed it. Here's Emily Seal.
There was a heated debate in LegCo as lawmakers on all sides of the political spectrum gave their views on the chief executive's policy address. Pro-establishment lawmaker Chang Yun-han took aim at the government's efforts to import foreign workers and attract overseas talent to boost the local workforce. She said this was being done at the expense of local workers, saying for them the policy address was a bad and smelly present. Chen accused Leung of not living up to his election promise to introduce standard working hours. She went on to say she believes in karma and warned that the chief executive's disregard of workers will return to haunt him. Pan-Democrat Lee Choi-gan went further, accusing the government of trying to get rid of local workers. They import foreign workers to fill up grassroots posts and mainland talent to take mid-level jobs. At the same time, they encourage Hong Kong's youth to work on the mainland, said Lee. Industrial sector lawmaker Andrew Leung went to the government's defense, saying it's necessary to import foreign workers to work in sectors Hong Kong people refuse to join. He said the manpower shortage will increase the cost of infrastructure construction and harm the city's competitiveness globally. Chief Secretary Carrie Lam rejected unionist concerns that the government is trying to replace the local workforce with foreigners. Such a view is false and a dangerous misunderstanding that may divide society, said Lam. She said Hong Kong can only attract more investors by expanding its talent pool, which will create more job opportunities for locals.
ATV has been fined $380,000 for unpaid wages. The station's vice president pleaded guilty to 38 summonses, but its executive director denied the charges. Arthur Urkula reports.
ATV Executive Director Ip Kap Ho and Vice President Lau Lan Chung arrived at Shatin Court this morning to answer 38 summonses each over unpaid salaries. To save money, the cash-strapped broadcaster did not hire lawyers. Lau pleaded guilty on behalf of the station for failing to pay more than $330,000 in salaries to 15 employees between July and November last year. He told the court that the station's financial crisis began when its investors decided not to contribute to salaries and there wasn't enough money from advertising to cover costs. Lau appealed that the station be given time to pay the fine and urged the court to consider the livelihood of the broadcaster's 600 employees. But Principal Magistrate Andrew Ma said the station should have taken precautions. He, however, noted that it was the network's first offense, that it admitted the charges and paid the outstanding salaries the 15 employees had claimed. The court handed down a fine of $10,000 for each of the 38 summonses and ordered that the total of $380,000 be paid within a month. But Ip is fighting the same charges, denying he had been negligent or granted consent for the salaries not to be paid. His case has been adjourned until the 26th of this month, with the court saying the case will involve reviewing a large amount of documents. Arthur Ricchiola, ATV News.
Overseas, fighting is continuing in parts of eastern Ukraine despite a four-nation agreement on a ceasefire. With peace hanging in the balance, the European Union has warned Moscow of further sanctions if pro-Russian separatists ignore the truth. George Wu reports.
Shelling has continued in the eastern Ukrainian city of Debaltseve, a day after regional powers agreed on a ceasefire that is due to take effect on Sunday. The cities of Donetsk and Luhansk also reported shelling, but it wasn't as heavy as in previous days. For nearly a year, pro-Russian separatists have been engaged in clashes with the Western-backed Kiev government in eastern Ukraine, threatening the security of Europe. The truce was agreed in Minsk, following marathon talks between the leaders of Russia, Ukraine, Germany and France. Under the accord, heavy weapons are to be withdrawn from the conflict zone and prisoners exchanged. The EU has warned that it will impose additional sanctions against Russia if the separatists don't observe the truce.
What really matters now is that on the ground, actual things happen rather than just words being said. That means heavy weapons need to be removed. It means a proper ceasefire has to be put in place. It means that people actually have to do the things that they've signed up to do.
The conflict has killed more than 5,000 people and wounded more than 12,000 since April last year. Joyce Wu, ATV News.
In finance news, local shares rose by 1.1% today as hopes for peace in Ukraine rallied markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the week 260 points higher at 24,682. Turnover was $71.6 billion. Local stocks gained ground after overnight gains in the U.S. following the announcement of a ceasefire date in eastern Ukraine. Let's take a look at markets overseas, starting in the U.S. The Dow Jones is up 32 points. More gains in Europe. The London FTSE is up 45 points, the Frankfurt DAX is up 35 points, and the Paris CAC is up 32 points. The US dollar cross rate now is 1.14 to the euro, 1.54 to the pound sterling, and is 118 Japanese yen against the greenback. Turning to tennis, the top four seeds, including number one Andy Murray, have reached the quarterfinals of the World Indoor Tournament in Rotterdam. ATV's Ann Chang reports.